everybody, more Mr. Craig, more times. Hey, I'm sorry that you don't get to see Mr. Nelson or Miss Garcia. They're really busy. They said, Mr. Craig, you don't do nothing, so you do these videos. So I am. So here we go. Our next thing we're doing is write an equation from 2 points. So we're saying, what are you talking about? On the graph? Well, yeah, if it was on the graph, that would be easy. We could find the slope from the graph and then pick a point. They're saying, what happens if I just give you 2 points? And so this is pretty terrifying, but I actually like this because it brings back everything that we've learned so far. So go ahead and write this down. We'll talk about this. Okay, so what they're saying is, I want you to write the equation of a line given, and here's the 2 points that they gave us. When starting with 2 points, begin by solving for the slope, and then use point-slope form. So basically what they're saying, we're going back and saying, okay, when I have 2 points, I can find the rate of change, or the slope. And then once I have the slope, I can use point-slope form, because point-slope form only requires you to have the slope and 1 point, and I actually have 2 points. So I get to pick which one I get to use. So here, did I put it on the next page? No, I did not. So let's just go ahead and try this then. So here's the point, 1, -4, so I'll just put it into my table. 1, -4, and 3, 2, 3, I put negative. What is wrong with me? People, there's something wrong with me. Without my peeps, I'm behind. So I could also have put this in as x1, y1, x2, y2, and then use the slope formula. But I'm going to go ahead and just use the table because I like the table. So I'm going to find the rate of change by finding the change in the y over the change in x, because that rate of change is actually slope. And I can see that in the y, it changes from -4 to 2, it increases by 6. And from 1 to 3, it increases by 2. Right? So now I have a slope of the change in y over the change in x equals my slope. And so that's going to be 6 over 2. And 6 over 2 can be simplified down to 3. So I now know that my slope is 3. That's awesome. Now, all I need is to pick a point. To go point-slope form, I just need a point. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. People say, well, it says x1, y1. If that's the first one, shouldn't I pick that one? Well, I can, but I can pick any point that they provide. And again, like I said before, I try to keep my points positive. I don't like negative people. And so I'm going to call this my x1 and my y1. That way I don't have to mess around with any of the signs here. And so I'm just going to go straight into this problem here, and I'll substitute. I'll go y minus, and now I look at the y1, it's 2. So it'll be minus 2 equals m, which we just found out by doing the slope formula, or the rate of change, we found was 3, parentheses x, minus, and now I look at my x1, it's 3, so I don't have to change these signs. And now that's in point-slope form. If that's all they needed, you'd be good. But if I want to put it in slope-intercept form, again, I have to simplify. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times -3 is -9. And now I have y minus 2 equals 3x minus 9. But again, that's not in slope-intercept form until I get y alone. So I'm going to get rid of the constant by adding 2. And I do it to one side, do it to the other. Add it to the 9 because those are like terms. I get y equals 3x minus 7. Boom! From 2 points, I was able to create an equation. That's pretty amazing. Okay, so I want you to try the next one. Find the slope, put it in point-slope form, simplify to slope-intercept form. Good luck. I have 2 points. The first thing I'm going to do is I like just to do the rate of change. I think finding the rate of change is the easiest way to find a slope. And you could do it this way, but I don't know, something about looking at a table just makes life easier. And so I'm looking for the change in the y over the change in the x. So the change in the y is from 1 to -7 is negative. It's a -8, right? And then from 2 to 0 is a -2. So I minus 2 and I minus 8. To find my rate of change, or my slope, you take the change in y over the change in x, the rise over the run. So that's going to be -8 over -2. And a negative divided by a negative is a positive, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. So my slope is 4. I have my slope. Now I got to pick a point. I have the point 2, 1, and 0, -7. To me, the easier point is 2, 1, because those seems like easy numbers. There are no negatives, so I don't have to do anything to the sign. So now that I have my point that I want to use and my slope, and by the way, try using the other point and see if you get the same answer as me. I know y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, which is point slope form. And now I'm just going to substitute my values in. I have y minus y1, which is 1, equals m, which we now know is 4, times x minus what is x1, which is 2. And boom, point slope form. I'm done if that's what they asked for. Check. But if I want to put it in slope-intercept form, that means I need to simplify. So I'm going to go ahead and go 4 times x is 4x. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. And now I want to get y alone, so I'm going to get rid of this constant. So I'm going to go plus 1. If I add it to one side, I have to add it to the other to keep it balanced. This is 0. I get y equals 4x minus 7. Boom! I'm done! How awesome is that? All right, and by the way, did anybody notice that that actually is the y-intercept? 0, negative 7. When x is 0, y is negative 7. If we had spotted that, life could have been easier. All right, you try this one. Okay, I'm assuming you tried this one. Again, I'm going to go fast. Here's the table. I'm going to put my points in there. 3, 5. Find the rate of change, the change in y over the change in x. Boom. This from negative 4 to 5 is plus 9. From 4 to 3 is minus 1. And so change in y over change in x is my slope. Rise over run. And I'm going to have 9 over negative 1, which 9 divided by negative 1 is just a negative 9. So my slope is negative 9. Now I got to pick a point. I choose to pick the second one because this one has negatives in it. So I'm going to pick this one, x1, y1. But you can pick either point. It's up to you. So this formula is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, which is point slope form. And now I have to substitute my values in, which is y minus my y1, which is 5. My m was negative 9. X minus my x1, which is 3. If I just need to find point slope form, I'm done. But I need to put it in slope-intercept form, so I'm going to simplify. So negative 9 times x is negative 9x. And negative 9 times negative 3 is positive 27. And I'm not done yet, so I'm going to simplify it by getting y alone. I'm going to add 5, which is the like term, or the constant. Do it to one side, you have to do it to the other. That's 0. I get y equals negative 9x plus 32. It's a pretty big number, right? But that's what we got, so that's what we're going to get. So my y-intercept is 32, and my slope is negative 9. Go ahead and try it. All right. Boom. I start off with my table again. X, Y. I get 5, 2, 5, 10. And then I go, okay, change in Y, change in X. My change in Y from 2 to 10 is plus 8. My change from 5 to 5 is plus 0. And then remember, my change in Y over my change in X is my slope. And so I get 8 over 0. And if you put that in your calculator, it would say error. That's because you can't have 0 in the denominator. It doesn't mean this equals 0. It means this is a no slope. A no slope. And when you see no slope, you go, danger, Will Robinson, danger. Because no slope, we have positive, negative, no slope, 0. Well, a no slope is one of those special cases. Is it a Hoy or a Vux? It's a Vux, right? And so Vux means V-U-X. V is for vertical. U is for undefined or no slope. And means x equals. And what does x equal? Well, we look at our problem and I see that both of my x's are 5s. That means that x equals 5. So as soon as you see no slope, you know you have a special case. What special case do I have? Do I have a Hoy or a Vux? In this case, I had a Vux. All right, you try. All right, so again, I make a table. X and Y, and I put my points in. 6, negative 1, 4, negative 1. The change in y over the change in x. People say, why do you write that down over and over again? Because it's not the y and it's not the x, it's the change in them. And people mess that up all the time. I look for my change in my y and I see from -1 to -1 is +0. And from 6 to 4 is -2. And now I say, okay, to find my slope, it's the change in y over the change in x. And the change in y over the change in x in this case is going to be 0 over -2. And if I put that in my calculator, 0 divided by -2 is 0. Now, if you remember special cases, you can say, okay, wait a second, 0 slope, positive, negative, no slope, 0. Oh, 0 is a special case. That's hoi. That means hoi means horizontal line, 0 slope. That means y equals. So I know this should be y equals something. But if you didn't see that, the only time you have to do that is with no slope. With a 0, I can still go ahead and plug it into my equation. I can go y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, which is point slope form. I need to pick a point. Which point should I pick? Well, they both have negatives in them, so I have to pick one of them. I'll pick the one with the smaller numbers, x1, y1, and I'm going to substitute the values in now. I'm going to go y minus, I go to my y1 is a -1, right, equals m, which we now know is 0, times x minus my x1, which is 4, right? And that's point slope form, but it's not simplified. 1 minus 1 becomes a +1 equals 0 times x minus 4. And now I have to distribute. Well, 0 times x is 0, and 0 times -4 is 0. And 0 plus 0 is 0, so I get y plus 1 is 0, and I'm not done yet. So I go, okay, -1 minus 1, I get y equals -1. Which is, if we saw that it was a special case, we knew that it was y equals, I could have gone right from the bat and said y equals, and say, okay, what does my y equal? Oh, they both equal -1. Same answer half the time. But it only works if you recognize that if you have a no slope or a 0, you have a special case. Okay, that's it. Good luck. Go ahead and try the problems below.